Hi everyone, it's me, Pavilion, and today I want to bring you a video where I talk about everything that's going on in Marvel Strike Force right now. I wanted to make this video today because I'm going to be going to college soon. It's online, but regardless, it's still going to take a lot of my time. I'm not going to be putting out videos as consistently as I was, and especially once I actually move back to college, hoping COVID allows, I will definitely not be making videos for quite a few months. Since I started playing Marvel Strike Force roughly a year ago when COVID hit, there were some problems I noticed in the game, and I've always been talking about them in my videos. And since it's been roughly a year and I haven't seen these problems addressed, and I'm not going to be making videos as consistently as I once was where I talk about these problems, I wanted to release one big video where I just go over all the problems. I summarize everything I've been saying for like a year, and I just put it in one video where you guys can watch and see everything I think that's wrong. I really feel it's only a matter of time until these problems boil over into a fix MSF campaign just like they had, which allowed us to get the weekly blogs and stuff like that. Before I start this video though, in case you are not a routine viewer, I want to let you know a little bit about myself. My name is Isaac, aka Pokemon. I've been playing Marvel Strike Force since before release. I did take some breaks throughout the lifespan of Marvel Strike Force. When Red Stars first came out, I stopped playing for a bit, but I came back after COVID hit. I did actually create the subreddit and the Discord server that probably most of you guys use. I did pass it on to other people that ran it better because at the time I was like 16. I wasn't really meant to run those kind of things, but I have played this game for a long time. I've watched it grow, and I think while there are a lot of people that probably know more about the game than me, play the game more than me, spend more on the game than I do, but I don't think there are a lot of people that have grown up in the mobile game era like I have. You know, when I was a kid, Angry Birds was big. We had cut the rope. I mean, I grew up playing mobile games since the very first ones on iPod Touch. I've seen all Marvel games come and go. Marvel Alliance 1, I played that game. I even played Puzzle Quest. They had a game called Tiny Heroes. I played Contest of Champions. I played Future Fight. I played Alliance 2. I've literally played every Marvel mobile game to pretty much ever release. So I think I have a pretty good view on sort of the lifeline of these games. I played Marvel Future Fight for a long time. You sort of see these stages of the game where things come out, you know, more and more characters come out, there's bloat, and then you reach this influx point where I think you really got to make some decisions. And if you make the wrong decisions, the game dies after 3 or so years. Or if you make some decisions and you invest in the game long term, the game gets to go on for a long time, like Contest of Champions is. A game that I don't think handled these problems was Marvel Future Fight. I played that game for a long time, roughly 2 years, very consistently I played that game, and I dropped it because they did not address the consistent issues in the game, and I think the game has been on a steep decline for many years, and that's what I want to try to stop in Marvel Strike Force. So there are 5 issues I want to talk about in this video. Each one I'll talk about the issue, and then I will talk about a potential solution. Also, if you don't want to watch the video, I did have a typed version of this on the subreddit. I'm doing a video and a typed version just in case you wanted to read it as opposed to listen to it if you want to listen instead of read it. But let's get into the first problem. The first part of Marvel Strike Force is as an incredibly restrictive meta, and this is no more apparent than with the most recent update that included the Skill Military team and the start of the Astonishing X-Men team. Scopely deliberately cuts up the roster into distinct chunks that are not meant to work together. One may argue they do this due to theming. You know, you want the Asgardians to work together, you want the Avengers to work together, but due to the fact Colossus doesn't work on the X-Force team or that Yellow Jacket works with Ant-Man, I don't think you can make an argument that theming is the reason they do this. What should have been a military team, allowing us to maybe put Captain Marvel or War Machine on the team, allowing for a little more diversity in picks, was decided to be a skill military team, so they perfectly cut up the roster into 5 members that only work with each other. I think this is even more atrocious with the X-Men faction that has been cut into the Astonishing and the Uncanny X-Men team. This perfectly puts the X-Men into 2 5-member teams that are meant to work with each other, and if you switch teams with the characters, like you put an Astonishing member on the Uncanny team, they won't work as well. When I grew up, the X-Men represented unity and the fact that people can come from different backgrounds but still work together. Scopely has gutted this idea, and now we have two separate factions of X-Men characters that do not work together at all. Cyclops doesn't work with Iceman, Kitty Pryde doesn't work with Storm, and Jubilee doesn't work with Colossus. Instead of leaving the X-Men faction united and allowing for diverse team builds, Scopely split them up into these two 5-member teams. So how do we fix this? Well, I think to a certain extent the damage has kind of been done with some of these kits being oddly specific. I think there are a lot of things that can be done to mitigate this problem. I think Scopely needs to go through the roster and add tags to every character. From the top to the bottom, I think they need to look at every single character and add tags to them. Let me go through a couple of quick examples. Wasp should be an Avenger. She was a founding member. I don't know why she doesn't have the Avenger tag. Shatterstar, Wolverine, Colossus, and Psylocke should have the X-Force tag. Classic X-Force members, I don't know why they don't have the X-Force tag. Remove the X-Men divide. Cut the Astonishing and the Uncanny X-Men. Just make them X-Men. Skill military should just be military. Stature should have the Young Avengers tag. Those are just a few simple examples of tag changes, and I think just by implementing those changes I suggested already, there are a ton more theory crafting opportunities, and I think this would lead to more discussion on blitz teams, arena teams, or raid teams, because right now, blitz teams really just come down to build the cookie cutter teams. The second problem Marvel Strike Force has is old-fashioned resource drops. This is no more apparent than with XP. When this game first launched, level 60 was the max. Now it is 80. So while we've had an exponential increase in XP need, there's been a linear increase in XP gains. To get from level 79 to 80, you need 70,000 XP. Level 60 to 61 was only 19,000 XP. I think by just showing the difference in those level gaps, this gives you an idea of how much more XP we need nowadays. And while there have been more tiers added to the training material challenge, and you get some training materials through real-time arena, the bulk of our XP farming comes from campaign. In what used to be the end game, Hero 7-1, you would receive 650 XP per 10 energy. Now, in the hardest missions in the game, Doom 3-9, you can get 750 XP per 10 energy. So there have been roughly an increase of 15% XP per energy over 3 years, while our average XP need has increased by over 300%. Now, XP is just one part of this problem. Gold drops have not increased significantly. The only reason why gold is dropping in a fine amount is because we're not getting enough XP. If we got as much XP as we should be getting, we would need a ton more gold. Ability orbs. Ability orbs are not good at all. They're not interesting to get. They're not fun to get. They don't drop anywhere near enough materials. I think we need more purple ability materials dropping period end throughout the whole game. While the amount they have dropping right now works fine for veteran players, we are consistently working through the roster. New players have a larger and larger backlog of characters that are going to need purple ability materials, and I think it's only going to be a bigger and bigger problem as time goes on with somebody new coming into the game and seeing how much purple ability materials they need when they can only get a set amount each day. To be blunt, I think training material drops through campaign should be doubled. Even when we had the 2x training material event going on, I still didn't think that was enough, and gold XP mats are not even enough with the current system. Gold XP materials drop 1600 XP for a character, so you would need 44 of the best material in this game to take a character from level 79 to 80, which hardly seems like it's that good of a material then. I think we need a new red training material that gives around 10,000 XP and would drop in some higher end content. Another solution I think Scopely could introduce, I'm not a huge fan of this, but maybe characters could get XP by participating in missions manually. You know, again, this would involve more screen time, a little more investment from you, but, you know, a little give and take. Scopely could get more screen time in their game, which is great for their statistics, and we would get more XP. A lot of games do this, like Marvel Future Fight or Raid Shadow Legends, just something they could potentially implement in this game. Now, the gold and ability materials are a little more difficult because they could just increase the gold drops in campaigns, although the problem is gold isn't really the problem because we're not getting enough of anything else to use the gold. If we got the amount of training materials I'm suggesting, then we would need more gold dropping. To solve the ability material problem, I think Alpha, Beta, and Gamma raids should drop ability materials, not as much as Ultimus raids, but at least like maybe half or something like that. I think they could help out a lot with the crunch for new players, and it could also fix the Alpha, Beta, and Gamma raids, which I think right now people are really not interested in because the rewards are outdated. The next problem in this game are deals and orbs. So while I think things are horribly priced in this game, people buy them. So I can't really ask Squibbly to change them because it's working. But something no one buys are premium orbs. Orbs as a whole are disappointing. The gold orb needs an update to account for the increase in needed gold from the new XP gains I requested. Alpha, beta, and gamma orbs are disappointing. The gamma orb is full of cherry-picked characters that elude characters that are actually interesting, and the alpha and beta orbs are just useless as a whole. But by and large, the biggest problem is the premium orbs. They're expensive and full of useless characters. This, combined with some characters being exclusive to premium orbs, makes it one of the worst parts of this game. So here's how I at least think you could fix the premium orbs. They need to take out every character that's farmable and make sure every minion is not in the orb. Every minion should be put in their own special minion orb for 50 or 100 power cores. Minions to anyone that's played the game for more than 50 days are useless. All you need is to put them on a team with a legendary character, and they help a legendary character perform well. The legendary characters where the value's at, the minions just support them. Nobody that's played the game for more than 60 days wants a minion drop in anything in this game. But new players need a quick way to get them because they are important to some of those beginning teams. So I think you need to have a cheap minion orb that is very accessible for new players so they can unlock a bunch of minions at the start of the game to boost their roster and encourage them to work towards these legendary characters that utilize them. In terms of the farmable characters that are removed from the orb, I really like the Legacy Orb in this game, and I think it should be rebranded as a Legacy Orb 1, and they should add a Legacy Orb 2 and 3 with sets of characters that have come out since Legacy Orb 1. I think these orbs should be made more accessible. It should cost roughly 200 power cores, and then this will also be used as a catch-up for new players to get characters that have come out in past years that are no longer in premium orbs but are farmable in other parts of the game. I think if you remove every farmable character and every minion from the premium orb, suddenly premium orbs are very appealing, full of awesome characters, and when they make characters premium orb exclusive, it doesn't feel as painful because no matter what, you're getting something of value when you're opening up the premium orb. I think by making people spend money on premium orbs, this could also fix other problems of the game. For example, the fact that people hoard power cores, which is the reason why I don't think they'll ever add a power core option for purchasing the battle pass, because they know everyone hoards power cores because there's nothing good to spend them on. If premium orbs were really good, maybe people would spend 450 power cores on premium orbs, drain their power core stockpile, and suddenly you'd be able to buy the battle pass with power cores. The fourth issue are legendary characters and farmability. First up, on legendary characters, there are too many of them. There's a rotation system. It used to work when we had maybe 3 or 4 legendary characters, but now you're looking at least 3 months before you see a character again if you miss their legendary event, which I think is crazy. This rotation system is a relic of the past. It does not work with the amount of legendary characters we have right now. In general, I think farmability needs an overhaul. There are at least 18 characters in the Blitz store, at least 16 in the Raid store, at least 19 in the Arena store, and at least 12 in the War store. Generally, when we're waiting for a character to become farmable, we wait for them to come to one of these stores or a note in the campaign. My problem with this is, while as veterans, we make our way through these characters, as the characters get added to the store, we unlock them, then we sort of store up resources. The next character gets added, we purchase them. As a new player, the more characters we put in the stores, the bigger the backlog is for them. As a new player, the Arena store right now is absolutely intimidating. For us, it's perfectly fine as veteran players because we consistently get Arena currency, so we're always ready for the next character. But as new players, you have this huge queue of 19 Arena characters you have to make your way through. So primarily, I think a lot of changes need to be made to farmability to help out new players coming to the game, which is really important to longevity of this game. We don't want people to stop joining this game because they think they're too far behind and there's no way they can catch up. My solution for legendary events is to take Star-Lord and Nick Fury out of rotation. While this still leaves a bigger rotation than I'd like, and this is kind of just a band-aid for the problem, at least this would be a start to fixing the problem. I think you could also make an argument for Magneto, Shuri, and Invisible Woman to be taken out of the rotation, but I think you can make an argument that those 3 still provide a significant amount of value in specific parts of the game. I think Star-Lord and Nick Fury really need to be booted out of the rotation. I think they're excellent, though, for new players coming to the game, and I think to have Iron Man, Star-Lord, and Nick Fury as sort of goalposts for new players coming to the game, and to allow the Guardians, Shield, and the Power Armor to be the 3 teams new players can sort of start out with, I think that would be an awesome change for the game. In general, character farmability will need to have some changes. First off, Raid and War store should have all characters purchasable all the time. Right now, it is just scummy how they do it, where they only have 3 or 4 characters available to purchase at any time. The problem with this though is people keep buying refreshes, so I don't know why they'd stop doing this. Really, I just ask out of the kindness of their hearts they allow every character to be purchasable at one time. But the real solution to this problem is we need another avenue to farm characters, and the only way we can get this is if we had a new store themed around a new mode, which is related to the next problem I'll talk about. The 5th problem in this game is we need a new mode. We have a ballooning roster of characters right now with 158 total heroes and villains to play in this game. You only need roughly 10 war attack teams and 8 war defense teams. Most raids, you're probably just going to use one team, the symbiotes, and for arena, you're just going to be using Black Order. The only other reason to build up characters are for one-time clears of campaign nodes or 2-time clears of Dark Dimension. We need repeatable content that encourages you to use every character in your roster. So here's my solution for this. Some people have suggested for a new mode, we have a giant boss battle with your alliance. I like that mode, I want to see it come to the game eventually, but that's not what I'm looking for right now. Personally, I would like something like Shadowlands in Marvel Future Fight. So what is Shadowlands? It's kind of like a Dark Dimension, but it resets every week. And it's a little easier, but it gradually gets harder as you move along, and it has like infinite floors. So the way Shadowlands works is you move room to room, fighting bad guys, but you only get to use a character once. This is very important. Dark Dimension, your health carries over mission to mission. It doesn't work that way in Shadowlands. Your characters use once, even if they survive, you don't get to use them again. This is important because it makes you use your whole roster. You can't just steamroll it with one strong character. You know, on the weak floors, you want to use your weak characters so you can save your strong ones for later. If you allowed health to carry over, you can just use your strong one all the way until you get to the strong nodes. It doesn't encourage you to use your whole roster. In Marvel Future Fight, there are at least 50 stages, so just by taking that and putting it in Marvel Strike Force, you already have a mode that would utilize 250 characters. I really love this game mode in Marvel Future Fight because it allowed every character release to be exciting, because even if you knew a team wasn't going to be meta, you could still be like, well, at least I'll get to clear one more floor in Shadowlands because I have some more characters to use. This new mode would also fix a lot of the other problems in our game. The XP crunch. You could allow XP to drop from this new Shadowlands mode. This could fix the farmability problem with characters. That Legacy 1, 2, and 3 Orb I'm talking about, maybe you could get fragments for those from this new Shadowlands mode. And this could also fix the avenues of farmability problem, because this could add a new store. You could get Shadowlands tokens by running this new mode, where you could then purchase new characters that would be exclusive to the Shadowlands store. I think it'd also be great if the Shadowlands store, they pulled maybe 4 or 5 characters out of the War, the Raid, the Blitz, and the Arena store, just to help deflate those stores a little bit for new players. I also think there's a lot of money to be made here from Scopely. People could pay to refresh characters to use them in another floor, and there's some PvP here because in Marvel Future Fight there was a king of Shadowlands, so somebody that cleared Shadowlands first got to set a team at the top of the tower in Shadowlands, and if you made it to the top of the tower you could then fight their team, and if you beat their team then you became the king of Shadowlands, and then whoever was the king at the end of the week I believe got some rewards. So this means the whales can sort of fight it out for number 1. A lot of money to be made there. And also, what was interesting about Shadowlands is they had floors that you could only go in if you had Spider-Verse characters. You could only go in if you had male villain characters, or maybe you could only go in if you had a blaster character. This is really interesting because this encourages a wide roster. Maybe Pimtech would sell a little better, even though we know it's not meta, because you know there'd be a Pimtech floor, so you need the Pimtech team in order to clear that floor. The theory crafting, revenue potential, problem solving, and fun in this mode I think is incredible. I just think it would solve a ton of problems in this game, and really it's the solution to everything I've talked about in this video. So to summarize, I love Marvel Strike Force. I'm having a ton of fun with the game right now. So many awesome characters coming out. They're just little problems I've seen growing over time, and I wanted to make one video where I condense everything I've been saying, a little well edited, a written video, and I just wanted people to have something to reference whenever I talk about the problems I have with Marvel Strike Force. I want this game to keep living. I'd love if I'm going to my wedding, and before my wedding starts, I'm running a couple of blitz battles. Donate don't tell any girls that. I'd love. I have a baby. When I'm older, I'm holding the baby, running blitz with one hand. I want Marvel Strike Force to last for a long time because I have a lot of fun with the game. These are some problems here that need to be fixed because they're not the biggest deals to veterans, but it really makes this game unappealing to new players. So I hope if you're a dev at Scopely or just a player in the community, these are some things you can keep in mind. But at the end of the day, what do I really know? Because I am my 19-year-old. I hope everybody can have a happy and healthy day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Sign off, everyone.